we ready to learn about this giant thing? What is it? Not natural. It's a pomegranate. Who's eaten pomegranates before? Anybody? You guys like pomegranates?
You think you tried one? Or... Okay. I haven't tried one.
No, not yet? Well, this is gonna be fun to try it because pomegranates are kind of like a intimidating fruit a little bit for people.
My mom told me you only eat the seeds.
Yes, that's right. You only eat the seeds inside because there's a lot of seeds inside of there. So it's usually we don't eat the seeds in a fruit, right? But this one, we like the seeds in the fruit because all the seeds in the fruit have some yummy juice around them. And we eat that. So I'm gonna show you how I cut one. And our first thing that we're gonna do today is get all of our pomegranates. We're gonna take the seeds out. And I've got a couple different ways to show you. So I'm gonna start by just showing you how I cut up the pomegranate. What you guys have in your kits, you have a little bowl of milk, and you have a piece of pomegranate. So we're gonna use both of them today. But I'm gonna show you how I gave you guys your bits of pomegranate and the ways that we can get our seeds out. So what I did was, as you can see, this is a giant pomegranate. I mean, my hands aren't that small. This thing is big. It's like a big softball size. And there's one end that has this little bit that sticks out and the other end's flat. And so what I did was I cut some off the top. You can kind of see, you can start seeing some of those little seeds in there that's in there. And what I did was score it. What you don't want to do is cut a pomegranate all the way through. If you cut a pomegranate all the way through, then you're going to burst those yummy seeds that have all that juice. That's what we want to keep intact. So pomegranates are pretty easy to open up. Once you score them, and that's what this is called, scoring, is you don't go in too far. You just go in a little bit. So I don't know if you can see that I've gone all the way around. Just a little bit under the skin. And then I go into the top, I score it a little, and I use my knife, and then I start to pull it apart. I don't know if you can see this very easily, and I'll probably have some pomegranates go all over my computer. That's okay. I want to show you how I pry it apart like this. See all those pretty seeds? And there goes some pomegranates right on my computer screen, my keyboard, but that's okay. See all those pretty little pomegranates in there? And you have to be really careful with the pomegranate seeds in there, because if you squeeze it too much, you're going to squeeze out the juice. So there's a couple ways we can do this. Now in my little instructions to you, I said you might want to get a bowl with some water in it. That's one way to do it. One way is you take your piece of pomegranate and you gently rub off the seeds underwater. And you can do that so that it doesn't get juice all over you. That's one way to try it. And then you'll see that the membrane, the things that they're sitting in, that they're connected to, that will float to the top and you can get the membrane off. So you gently, real gently, just nudge them off. Nudge those seeds off. You can also do it in a bowl if you want, if you don't want to mess with the water, if you think it might be more trouble than good. You can take your seeds and just gently push them off. Sometimes they all go at once if you gently push it, but you don't want to squeeze it and you don't want to push them hard off because you don't want to pop these little guys. They're like little water balloons, but inside is pomegranate juice. And just so you know, it does stain. So sometimes when you have little kids, it's fun to do it under the water because then the juice doesn't stain on your hands and it won't squirt all over the place. I didn't do it in water last night when I was making everybody's, and you wouldn't believe the mess I made in my kitchen. But that is, I just wanted to show you a couple ways to do that. So once you do it if you do it in the water, you'll see that like the membrane, the white stuff that you don't want to eat, that will be floating on the top of the water. And the seeds will be at the bottom and you can strain them. And it does take a little bit of time, but that's why I did a lot for you in advance. So I wanted you to see what it looked like inside. And if you could gently roll them off, now you can, at any point in time, try one. Because they are the best. I love pomegranate seeds. Who likes them? Yeah, oh good. Awesome. So these seeds are so good for you. Even though they're so small, they have tons of vitamin C, which is really good for our bodies right now because it's winter time. And, you know, you may have heard around that there's some immune thing going on with, you know, like a pandemic kind of thing. The flu comes around. These will all help keep us as healthy as we can be. Doesn't protect us fully, but it helps us from getting a cold. Might help us from, you know, getting sick here and there, but it helps our immune system because there's vitamin C in there. It's really tasty. And you can get your seeds out and eat them straight out of the pomegranate itself. There's also potassium in here. Bananas have a lot of potassium, but did you know that a whole pomegranate has more than like 10 bananas of potassium? That's good for our bodies too. So your bodies are thanking you today. And we're gonna have the pomegranates. We have 2 recipes for our pomegranates. One is a little bit healthier. One is not so healthy, but that's okay. We made it healthy by putting our pomegranates inside. How's everybody doing? You can unmute yourselves and tell me what you think about these.
Tell her what you think.
You like them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah.
Greer likes them.
Greer, you like them, good.
I'll break another pomegranate for you.
Oh, good.
Iris, do you like it?
Good job with that. Iris, you like them?
Like them? Yeah.
I bet you would, Iris. You always like them.
Sour.
They're sour.
Yes, they are sour. Very good. They're really tasty.
I like sour.
Yeah. You're kind of a sweet.
Now my face is all red.
Now your face is all red. You know, you could sometimes use pomegranate juice to make like frosting pink. Like so strong. I thought we would start with the dessert part first. What do we think about that? Is that a good idea?
I think so.
We'll start with the dessert portion of our day because we're gonna let it cool down while we make our other recipe. So did you guys get a chance to melt your white chocolate? If you didn't yet, put it in a little microwavable bowl. And I hope you grabbed a couple pieces of white chocolate before you melted it so you could taste it. You can also taste it now that it's melted. It's really good. We've got our melted white chocolate here. And we've got our pomegranates. Now we're not going to use all of our pomegranates because we need some for later. I'm going to grab a napkin because I just saw some pomegranate juice on my keyboard that I need to remove before I share. Okay. So we're going to use some of our pomegranates. You can pour that into your white chocolate. Save some for later. And then you also have, most everyone has walnuts and pumpkin seeds, but if you may have had a nut allergy, you just got some pumpkin seeds. And what you'll do is put about half of those as well, because we're also going to use our walnuts and our pumpkin seeds for our next recipe. And you can take them with your fingers and you can break them apart. You can use your fingers and break them apart, the walnuts, and put that into your white chocolate.
Do you put the pumpkin seeds in there if we don't have a nut allergy, right?
The pomegranate seeds and the walnuts and the pumpkin seeds, yes. If you do have a nut allergy, then just put pumpkin seeds.
There's the pumpkin seeds. These are pumpkin seeds.
So
Sorry, we're mixing the white chocolate with the pomegranate and the
Pumpkin seeds. Mom.
Okay.
yes, that's right.
Pumpkin seeds, cause
Pumpkin seeds, if you have walnuts, you can add the walnuts. And to definitely taste them too. These are all good for us.
choo-choo.
I love pumpkin seeds. So we've got our white chocolate. It's like a real sticky mess, isn't it? Stirring these things together. You want to kind of try to stir it gently so we don't burst all the pomegranate seeds. But now that we have our chocolate, what we'll do is put a little bit onto that parchment paper that I gave you. So what we're just going to do is put little bits of it, maybe a spoonful, and we're going to scrape that onto our parchment paper.
You want your chocolate chips? We're gonna put these in.
So we've got our melted, and it's just going to cool on our parchment paper. And it can be in big chunks, it can be in little chunks. Mine's starting to cool down already.
Can you mix it?
You can even form it together with your fingers. But basically, these are going to be little dessert pieces for us. So we've got our white chocolate with our pomegranates and our walnuts. Now remember, don't put all of them in, just a little bit. Mix those up, and then we'll put those on the parchment paper. You can set that aside. You can have a taste too if you like, because it'll be sweet.
Right into water.
Who likes? What do you think? Really can't go wrong with white chocolate.
You wanna help me scoop? Scoop them? Okay. Spoon. Okay, let's get a scoop.
So we're gonna set our, we'll set our little candies aside that we made. That's our dessert for the day. So I'll wait till everybody's ready. Well, it's kind of healthy. So we got the white chocolate, but we also have our pumpkin seeds in there and our pomegranate seeds. We happy with it so far? Iris, it looks like you have lipstick on all those pomegranates that you ate. What do we think? Allie, you think it's good? Yeah, Brunner kids, yeah? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We good?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So are we ready to start on our next portion of our pomegranate extravaganza today?
I'm gonna stop eating
Mhm.
just eat all of them.
You can't eat all of them. We need to save some, right?
No, I eat it all.
Oh, you are. So we're gonna start on our next portion. So we're gonna let's get a little bowl, like a cereal-sized bowl. And you're gonna you got a little bag of green stuff. It kind of looks like lettuce, but then there's a big thing in it. Why don't you guys open that up? Let's talk about that for a minute.
There's a big thing in it.
Mhm.
There's a big thing.
There's a big thing in there.
Yeah, there's a big thing in here. So it looks like a little ball, doesn't it? It's so cute. It's like a little mini cabbage. This is called a Brussels sprout. Brussels sprouts before? These are also really good for you. There's a lot of vitamin C in these as well. So the Brussels sprouts grow on this big stalk. And they have these little tiny flowers, but inside they're so complicated. They're like layers. So I gave you a big one so you could see what it looks like when you peel it off the stalk. And you can peel the layers away if you want. You see how they grow. They have all these little layers of leaves that tightly wrap around.
You can peel it.
Where is the big thing?
That is a big one.
Where's the
It's like
big
a big circle. And what I did, when you're preparing Brussels sprouts to eat, you take the bottom off where it was stuck to the stem. And you can either cut it in half. Sometimes you bake them, you roast them, or you saute them. Today we're having them raw, and we're having them raw and shredded. And so I cut them into little tiny pieces for you all to save you that time today. Hopefully. Makes life a little bit easier for us. And you can see when I cut a piece of it, you see all the little layers that grew in there, in that Brussels sprout. You can taste it. It's good and crunchy.
You peel it apart.
Peel apart, Amy.
Can you peel it apart? You want to try?
Kind of tastes like a mix between cauliflower and broccoli.
Yeah.
And this is what we're going to use instead of lettuce today. We're using this. This is our salad mix. It's kind of like our little appetizer, and then we made our little dessert, but we're going to use a lot of the same things. So we're going to take those shreds that I gave you, and we're going to put them into a bowl. You have all your little pieces and you stick those into a bowl. They can be big chunks, they can be little chunks. And if you want to try to cut up your one that I gave you, you can. If not, you've got enough for your little mini salad.
Amy.
And I gave you, so most of the time I like to give you all the components and we mix them all together. But today, because it was all about, I wanted to talk more about pomegranates than anything, I gave you a little vinaigrette on the side in a little container. And you don't need to open that yet. I want you to shake it. I want you to find that little container and just shake it like crazy. Yeah, that's it. Shake it. Shake it up.
Shake it up, Iris.
Shake it, shake it, shake it. Don't sing in the process.
Maybe I just shaked it too fast.
Yeah, too bad.
Oh, wow, that's a professional shaking. There you go. Shake it up, and you'll see it kind of changes color a little bit. It gets a little bit kind of an opaque color. You can't really see through it because we're mixing. Inside there is white wine vinegar. Not real white wine, everybody, don't worry. And some Dijon. So I put some of this stuff in it. And I put some Dijon mustard in it. And I put some honey in it. Because the honey is going to help make it a little bit sweet. And I probably put a little bit more honey than I would for an adult. So maybe a little bit sweeter. And then I also put olive oil in it. And we mix that. And when the oil mixes with everything, that's what makes it become a little bit opaque. So when you open it up, you can stick your finger in and taste it. It might be a little kind of a strong flavor, but once it goes onto the Brussels sprouts,
I want to.
the flavor is gonna even out a little bit.
Come on.
And you don't have to pour it all on. You might have too much for all of it, but you're gonna pour a little bit on.
All right, pour a little bit.
And
Okay?
then we're gonna put some salt and pepper on our salad too. So we're gonna add some of our
Good.
dressing onto our Brussels sprouts.
There we go.
And you can take a spoon or a fork or whatever, and you can stir that around.
And it tastes
You can taste that. Here,
And we're gonna add a twist of salt and a little bit of pepper,
Okay, so do a pinch of salt. Pinch it.
or a pinch, there you go. And a little bit of pepper. And you're gonna mix that around again. We want the dressing to get over all of our Brussels sprouts. And give it a nice little coating, because that's our dressing. And you can taste one. Once it has the dressing on there, taste that and see what you think. It actually gives it a nice flavor.
Forgot you like to eat salt.
And just a reminder, since this is a vegetable, we will be having to jump higher after class. It does help us grow and get bigger, and it's helped making us healthy, and our brains are smarter automatically. I can see everybody's brains are smarter now that they're tasting these Brussels sprouts. So now we're going to add,
spicy.
No, it's not spicy. You can try it.
we're going to add some things to it. So once we've added our dressing and our salt and pepper, we have some things to put on top.
Well, look at our
Yeah.
potato.
a little triangle. You guys have a triangle there? This is called Manchego cheese.
Hold that triangle. Can
Yeah.
can
This
I
is
hold it?
Manchego cheese. Do you guys like cheese?
You like cheese?
Yeah. So this is Manchego cheese.
Can I eat it?
Yes, please do. Take a bite.
Mmm.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's probably not something you're used to. If you have a cheese grater, you can use it. If not, you can pick it apart in little pieces and put it into your salad. But if you have a cheese grater, you're gonna rub it against it and just remember that these cheese graters are little knives on inside of them. So when you rub it on, you're gonna be real careful. You're gonna rub it and you're gonna put the bits of cheese. It might break apart a little bit, and if that does, that's okay. You can have chunks of cheese in your salad. Or you can just go ahead and break it apart with your fingers and put some pieces in.
Okay, see the big pieces? You can break it up. Break up the big pieces.
Yeah, it might just be easier to use your fingers and break it up if you want, or however you want to do it. And you might not need to use all of your cheese. It depends how much you like cheese. Mix that. And then we're gonna mix in what we put in our, besides the white chocolate, but in our white chocolate candies. We're gonna put in our pomegranates. We're gonna put in the walnuts if you have some. We're gonna break them apart like we did before. And we'll put our pumpkin seeds in there. And you just have to put a little bit of each in, but you'll notice that the pumpkin or the pomegranate seeds will add some sweetness to it all. And it makes it really pretty. It's like a nice holiday meal. And we'll put some of there's my pumpkin seeds I'm putting in, and then breaking up some of my walnuts. These are walnuts that I roasted for you guys. So they're a little crunchier, they're not raw. So we've got our cheese and our dressing.
Saying.
Some singing. Okay.
Something.
Hold on. Don't touch. This is sharp, remember.
Okay. So what do you think? It looks really pretty, doesn't it? You can add as much of your toppings as you like. If you really love those pomegranate seeds, throw in some more.
We throw some of these in, and then we can break these up and sprinkle these in too.
It's like a little art project. Aren't they beautiful?
Let's put some walnuts in, or some pomegranates in. You're gonna break it? Okay.
Now that you have it all mixed up, you can try it. Taste it all together. Tell me what you think.
There's some big chunks of cheese in here.
Good? Mmm. And Braden, I saw you added some more dressing to yours. Did you need a little bit more dressing to your salad? Mm-hmm. Good.
You wanna try it? That's a pumpkin seed.
One thing I forgot to show you is when I went online yesterday to see how other people did their pomegranates, Martha Stewart has a way that's a bit crazy. She opens up her pomegranates, and she like swore by this move, and I don't know if I'm buying into it yet, but she takes her pomegranate and she holds it upside down on her hand over a bowl, and then she takes like a wooden spoon and just whacks it. She whacks it so all the seeds come out. And I was trying this yesterday and I had seeds going everywhere. And then you get juice all over your hand. So to me, that's not the best idea, but I thought I'd show you because I thought it was kind of funny. But that's, I guess, one way to do it. I prefer to like gently roll them out or put them into the water and get them out that way. But she was all about smacking these things like crazy. I don't know, if you're up for making a mess, maybe go outside and take your pomegranates and hit him on the back with a spoon. But I wouldn't recommend doing it inside. You'll get them all over the place.
I feel like.
So that's that. But you guys did great today. Thank you so much. I wasn't sure if everyone would be all about my healthy portion, so I didn't give too much detail to that when I was promoting it. But I also wanted you guys to see that you can use pomegranate.
Water little.
Mhm.
And you
The water little.
Oh yeah.
The water
The
little.
Brussels sprout rolled a little.
Yeah.
It
Is it?
did.
Oh, okay. Well, it's because it's kind of like a ball, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, a ball you can eat. And you can also just snack. You can have, if you still have some pomegranates left in the little container, you can just eat those pomegranates straight out just like that as a snack.
I see
Yeah,
that.
you can just have those as a snack and they're so good for you. You might want to be careful so you don't get them all over the place, but they're definitely good for you and fun to eat.
Well, I'm gonna go drain them. Yes, I'm gonna drain them.
So I hope you guys enjoy your recipes today. Thanks for joining me. And next week we're gonna make peppermint bark.